Hey there guys, I'm here with my WWE Payback review and ratings, and actually I was very satisfied with this show. I really didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, and so yeah, there were definitely some very good matches on that card, so let's get into it. Alright, so the first match, this is definitely one of the better ones, and y'all saw me in my predictions video hating on this match, saying that it was going to be garbage, because I thought it would be. I mean, they both have had horrible matches at Night of Champions, and it just wasn't good, but this was definitely the best match that these two have had. They got an extreme, I'm going to upload a picture. Trish Stratus was literally hanging. She was literally hanging from the steel cage. It was absolutely crazy. And also Tiffany Stratton was in the audience, and she was still carrying on that thing where she said there's not enough competition in NXT, that she's coming to scout out the main roster. So that's kind of teasing a main roster call up. So that would be nice. And I know this is Trish's first ever steel cage match, and that was crazy. Her head had bruises, knots. It really was crazy. They kept falling from the top, doing superplexes from the top of the steel cage right there up on the top, and landing right on their back and bashing each other's heads into the cage. It really was good. And of course, Trish Stratus is not gonna have a match without Zoe Stark helping out. And here comes Zoe Stark. She hit Becky Lynch with the steel cage door, slammed it right into her head. And then she came in there. Becky Lynch did her finisher on her, did her finisher on Trish, and then that was close to the end. 1, 2, 3. And then Becky Lynch leaves the ring after she had already won the match. And guess what happens? Trish Stratus turns on Zoe Stark. They're getting nose to nose, pushing each other everywhere. And then Zoe Stark does her finisher onto Trish Stratus. And so I'm guessing that's going to be a match at the next Premium Live event. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give that match an A. And right after that match, here we hear, dur, 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 dur. The crowd is going crazy. It is John Cena. He goes on to say that he's never been a host, basically saying he is now the host of Payback. John Cena says, well, I got one idea. He says he wants to be the special guest referee for LA Knight versus The Miz. And, of course, somebody has a problem with that. Out comes The Miz. He basically comes out and says, no, you're not going to be the referee in my match. I'll tell you how to be a host, because I've had a TV series, Ms. and Mrs., and I'm very experienced. You don't come into my match. And then he's like, no. And then John Cena says, yeah, no, yeah. Which was obviously super entertaining. Love that scene. And then he's like, how are you going to be the referee when you don't even have a referee shirt? Somebody gives John Cena a referee shirt, so John Cena is the referee. And then out comes LA Knight, yeah. The crowd was going crazy for LA Knight. The match starts off pretty basic. I mean, they're just doing basic stuff, nothing too special. Hey guys, I'm back, and actually, obviously I don't do this whole entire video in like one little section. Like, I'm not going to just sit here for like 10 minutes and do it, because I don't have that much time. And so I'm doing it like on the go. I'll go do something, then I'll be back home, film a little bit more, and I come back and my Amazon package is in. So if you notice a difference in the mic quality, I do have a better mic now. So let's see how this works. But back to the match. Yes, it started off extremely basic. I mean, it really wasn't nothing special at all. Wasn't very entertained. It was easy to look away. But then it started to get a little more intense, because LA Knight kept getting into it with John Cena, and so did The Miz. Everybody was having a problem with John Cena in the match. And so now this leads for me to think that there's going to be LA Knight versus John Cena, and then LA Knight is really going to extremely prove himself as a top guy on the roster. Once you defeat John Cena, you are up there at the top, and I believe that's what he's going to do. One thing what happened with Cena and LA Knight is LA Knight went to go punch Miz, and Miz ducked it, and so then he almost ended up knocking the crap out of John Cena. And so then, of course, he was distracted talking to John Cena, getting into it, like, get out of my way. And then the Miz hits him with a skull-crushing finale. It looks like it's the end of the match, but luckily it is not for LA Knight. He ends up kicking out of that, and then he goes on to win that match. After the match, whenever LA Knight's up there about to leave back to the back, I guess you could say. John Cena's up there, and he's trying to give LA Knight a handshake. LA Knight's like, oh, no, you almost cost me my match. I'm not doing this. He says, we don't have to be friends. It's out of respect. And then, of course, they do it, leading for me to think that will end up being a match. But overall, the match was pretty basic, and so I'm going to give it a B. Next up, we got a U.S. title match. We got the champ, or the new champ actually, Rey Mysterio versus the former champ, Austin Theory. This match was very basic, nothing special. It wasn't bad, but definitely nothing special. Not like a must-watch. But it was decent. Rey Mysterio ended up retaining, and the entire LWO came out and celebrated with Rey, showing no tension, so maybe the LWO is cool with each other. Maybe they're not mad or nothing. But yep, he did retain. So that was cool, and so yeah, I'm going to give this match a C+. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. One good thing was Rey Mysterio's attire looked so cool. That was a great attire. Next up, we got the hands-down match of the card. This is the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day Finn Balor and Damian Priest. It was so good. This was ECW style. Definitely match of the night. I'm going to just go ahead and say it right here. This is an A+ match. This is like one of the best matches of the year so far. I was so impressed. There was so many spots in this match that was just like so good. And then near the end, you're about to think that KO and Sami are about to retain. Little do you know, Dominic's going to jump in and cheat and hit him with the briefcase. And then the Judgment Day ended up taking the titles, which in my opinion was the correct decision. I mean, just watch this. I'm going to put a clip on the screen where Kevin Owens turns into Kevin Hardy.
Owens! Through Dominic through the table with a...
If that is not freaking insane, I don't know what is. That is absolutely crazy. And I just want to say right here, Kevin Owens got the worst of that. I know he felt that. He went a little too far with that. I know it hurt. I'm just going to try and name out some of the great spots in the match. They threw KO and Sami over a barricade. Next thing you know, they're sitting there celebrating. Then KO and Sami stand up, and they're in freaking hockey gear, and they're in the, whatever the team is, the Pittsburgh Penguins or something. It's the hockey team. I don't watch hockey. The Pittsburgh hockey team. And then they start hitting them with the hockey sticks. I think that's what they're called, the hockey sticks. They start hitting the Judgment Day with them. It was crazy. And if this is not brutal, go look at Kevin Owens. If you go rewatch that match. If you can only watch one match from Payback, go rewatch that. Kevin Owens was bleeding like crazy. Even Rhea Ripley got involved. She speared Kevin Owens through a freaking barricade. But somehow, some way, after I thought they would lose, the Judgment Day pulled it off. And this is an A+ match. This is just, I can't say anything else. A+. And then we got the Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes. Basically, this entire segment was just to say that Jey Uso is coming on Raw. Cody Rhodes came out and he's like, do you watch Raw? Do you watch NXT? Do you watch SmackDown? He's like, something really bad went down on SmackDown. I feel bad for this person, and so I want to bring them to Raw. And here comes Jey Uso with a new theme song. Not Bloodline gear. He's like in his own new gear. And so, yeah, now we're going to be seeing Jey on Mondays. Next match, we got Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. This match wasn't too bad. It was kind of long. It felt even longer because it was very slow-paced. It was okay. And, of course, as expected, Rhea Ripley retained. Which, now that I think of it, there was a few good spots in there. It just, nothing special. But, of course, as expected, you know who's going to interfere. Here comes Dominic Mysterio. He goes in there. He distracts Raquel Rodriguez long enough to give Rhea Ripley enough time to set up for a riptide. 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley retains. And I'm going to give this match a B. Next up, we got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And I really liked the whole talk and how they kind of talked about the feud before the match. They had some really cool visuals on there. I thought that was a pretty cool little introduction to the match. And it kind of made me think, because of course I chose Seth Rollins to win. I'm like, hold up, maybe he's not going to win. Because they're like starting to make it sound impossible for him to win. They're like, he's got a horrible back. His back is in horrible condition. Like, there's no way he's going to win against Shinsuke if he's got this horrible of a back that y'all are making it sound. But, of course, he's found a way to come out with the victory. And I saw people complaining about that, basically saying, this doesn't make any sense. They're making Shinsuke look retarded and losing to somebody in horrible condition with what they're making it seem like he can't walk with that kind of back. And I see where they're coming from, but I still think it's the correct decision. Oh yeah, and the Great Moodle was right there ringside. But overall, the match was pretty decent. I enjoyed it, and I'm going to give it a B+. Overall, WWE Payback of 2023 did not disappoint. I had very low standards for it. It really did not look like that good of a show, but it ended up being amazing with 2 banger matches between the Judgment Day, Kevin Owens and Sammy, and then the Becky and Trish surprisingly good match. Those 2 really carried the entire card. Like, just that solely alone is a good pay-per-view. For me, I enjoyed both of those matches. But everything else, nothing was really too bad in my personal opinion. So there is my review and ratings for WWE Payback of 2023.